Today, we head to a notorious part of San Francisco called Hunters Point. Hunters Point is one of those places that you just don't go to, no matter what. Most people from the city have never been to Hunters Point, and most likely will never go either. It's really its own world over there, and there is no reason to go. I don't care if the finest girl in the world asked me to go pick her up. If her address is Hunters Point, I'm not going. Then again, I wouldn't go if her address was East Oakland either, and definitely not Stockton, but there's no baddies over there anyways, so that wouldn't be a problem. Anyways, Hunters Point is one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in California. New Year's Day 1996. RBL Posse is barbecuing in Hunters Point with their family and friends to celebrate the new year, but also to celebrate the new record deal that was just offered to them. In just 3 days, they were set to sign a $1.5 million deal with Atlantic Records. Filled with excitement, two of the members decide to head over to Oakland to attend a party, but RBL rapper Mr. C decides to stay back and enjoy the day with family. Well, that would be a bad decision because there is a man hiding behind the project building waiting for an opportunity. The man decides to creep around the building and runs right up to Mr. C. He gets up real close, looks him in his eyes, and BAM! This moment here set off a rivalry that hasn't stopped for the past 25 years. It completely divided Hunters Point into different sections.
It kind of split the neighborhood in two.
Yeah. Right, and that was the thing too. He said it didn't split into two. That was telling when he said, no, it's split into one. And that let me know right there that they felt like they was already against us. It's time to move on.
Let me break it all down for you. Stepney represents a section called Harbor Road, also known as Big Block. RBL Posse, on the other hand, represent a section called West Point. And after the passing of Mr. C, these two projects became rivals, and from there, they gained their own alliances. Hunters Point really became split into two sections, Harbor Road and its allies versus West Point and their allies. West Point is allies with the Oakdale projects and the Sunnydale projects, while Harbor Road is allies with Osceola, Kirkwood, and the Double Rock projects. Things were crazy between West Point and Harbor Road. Between 1999 and 2002, there were 20 homicides just between the two projects. 2003 brought devastating news to Hunters Point. February 3rd, 2003, RBL Posse rapper Hitman would be in the West Point projects on a Sunday afternoon. That's when a car would pull up and BAM! This loss would mean that two of the three RBL Posse rappers were gone, and at this point, Hunters Point had become an extremely dangerous place. The neighborhood bred some real savages, but none more than a man named David Hill. April 10th, 2004, 1 a.m. David Hill is walking up Newhall Street in Hunters Point. That's when a police car rolls up behind him. Officer Espinoza flashes his light at him and says, "Hey, let me talk to you." David doesn't turn around and decides to keep walking. Espinoza yells, "Stop!" David keeps going up the hill, so Espinoza hops back in his car and pulls up right behind him. He hops out of the car, and that's when David Hill turns around and BAM! David Hill walks all the way across Hunters Point and leaves his belongings behind the Oakdale projects. Mind you, this is a long walk, all the way across the hill. After dropping his stuff off, he then walks all the way back across to West Point. He hops in his car and drives all the way across the Bay Area to the San Ramon Medical Center. He walks into the emergency room with plastic flowers in his hands and starts running around in circles. So then the hospital would call the police, who would then come and calm him down. But then, they would tie him to everything that had just happened. This event was a big deal in the Bay Area, and Isaac Espinoza's funeral was huge. This situation would change everything in Hunters Point, for better or for worse. You be the judge. SFPD would build cases against Harbor Road and West Point and try to take them down once and for all. They figured that they would start at the bottom and make their way all the way up to the top. Well, for Harbor Road, that strategy worked perfectly. Dozens of Harbor Road members would snitch on the boss. Stepney made sure to cover his tracks well, but so many people snitched on him that he ended up getting blamed for everything. He was sentenced to 21 years in 2005.
Okay, so 8 guys cooperated against you. How close were you to these 8?
Well, really, only was close to 2 of them that I really was close with and grew up with.
Who kind of got what he deserved, kind of bringing in, like he was saying, like we started bouncing around and dealing with other dudes. And it's like them dudes recruited so many dudes around there from Bishop to Kirkwood And that was one of the things that kind of fractured them too, bringing a lot of outside dudes in who didn't care about pointing that ET finger at them. You know what I mean? It was like, okay.
After these takedowns, everyone expected the community to get better, but that didn't happen. In fact, quite the opposite happened. The younger generation no longer had any sort of guidance, and they jumped off the porch